My friend, let me just tell you this right now, that if you insist on a life where you call things as they are instead of what they can be, every time you call it like it is, you are declaring that it ought to remain as it is. And if you cannot become first, then you cannot have. But very often we make the mistake of just wishing and wishing and wishing, right? We know everything that we want, but we do not know what it is that it takes for us to become in order to have that. I want you to understand that if you commit yourself to faith, you are committing yourself to a life that often doesn't make sense. If you only move when the facts look good, you will never move in the direction that God is moving in with your life. If you wait for everything to be perfect, if you wait for everything to fall in place, I'm telling you now, you will find yourself moving in the opposite direction to favor the favor of God and the favor of people. My friend, this is Align with Poloko, and today we're speaking about, or rather we continue to speak about, faith that sees beyond the natural. Faith that goes beyond what the naked eye can see. Because my friend, I'm telling you now that your eye often sees what is limited. It sees what has already happened. It sees what has already taken place in the spiritual realm. So you have to become really good at seeing beyond what is happening right now into what God is doing with your life beyond this moment, beyond this very moment. I read this for you in the last episode, that Hebrews chapter 11 verse 1 says, "Now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see." Faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. That, my friend, is what faith is. So today I want us to continue to speak about this, and we're going to use the life of Abraham from the Bible. Back in Genesis chapter 12, we see a man called Abram who starts his journey at a place where he receives instruction that doesn't have too many details in it. In Genesis chapter 12, verse 1, God says to Abraham, it says from verse 1 to verse 3, it says, the Lord had said to Abraham, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you." He says, "I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. And all peoples on earth will be blessed through you." Now, here's the fascinating part of it. It says in verse 4, "And Abram went as the Lord had told him." Abram went as the Lord had told him, not as he had seen, as he was told. Now, let's step this back for a moment, because it says that in verse 1, God says to Abram, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to a land I will show you." Now, there are two parts to this. The first is, leave what is familiar, leave what you know, leave what is comfortable, leave what you are used to. Right? He says right there, he says, your country, your people, your father's household, leave all of that behind and go to a place that I will show you. Now, we have very clear details on where we are right now. We are in a place of the familiar, the comfortable, and what we know. But we are being called to a place of which we do not have much detail, a place that I will show you. A place that I will show you. And there is a decision to be made over here. Am I going to listen to what God is saying, or will I stick with what I know? Because right now, it's kind of tricky. It's kind of tricky. If you don't tell me exactly where you're taking me, if you don't tell me exactly where we're going, you see, this is the person that I am. especially because I don't really like being outside. I don't really like being around people too often. So what often happens is if you tell me that I'm coming to get you, we'll be back a little later, that's not going to work. It's not going to work. When you call me and tell me I'm coming to pick you up or meet me in such and such a place, I want to know, where are we going? Why are we going there? Who will be there? What are we going to do there? What time will I be able to leave? How easy is it for me to leave? I want to know that I'd be able to leave anytime I want to come back to my comfort zone, which is my home. But God works differently. God operates differently. He says to Abram, leave everything that you know for something that you do not know. Now, it's difficult, but I'm telling you, it's the way of faith. It is God's modus operandi. Leave what you know for what I will show you. And then he goes on to make a promise. And the promise is interesting because it starts off with these 4 words. I will make you. It says, I will make you into a great nation. I will make you. I will make you, Abram. You will become a great nation. And that's very important when you consider what happens in Genesis chapter 17, because Abram was named exalted father, is what the name Abram means, without the H in Abraham. And then one day, God changes his name. And at this point, this is in Genesis chapter 17. Genesis 17 says, when Abram was 99 years old, the Lord appeared to him. Now, this is years since God called him in Genesis 12. Years, at least a decade. And some say that it might have been as much as 2 decades, right? He was 99 years old when the Lord appeared to him and said, I am the Lord, I am God Almighty. Walk before me blameless. Rather, walk before me and be blameless. Then I will make my covenant between me and you and will greatly increase your numbers. Abram fell face down, and God said to him, as for me, this is my covenant with you. You will be the father of many nations. No longer will you be called Abram, you will be called Abraham. For I have made you a father of many nations. And then he says, I will make you very fruitful, and I will make nations of you, and kings will come from you. I will establish my covenant as an everlasting covenant between me and you and your descendants after you for generations to come, to be your God and the God of your descendants after you. Let's take it back a moment. He says, I will make you very fruitful. Right? He says, I will make you very fruitful. But when he says, I will make you very fruitful, he's already said, your name will be Abraham, for I have made you the father of many nations. God says, I have made you. So before Abraham has a son, God had to make him into the person who was capable of producing many nations. And most people don't understand faith in this sense because they don't understand the fact that it starts with who you become, right? It starts with who you become so that who you become will give birth to what you desire. It's not the other way around. You don't get and then become. A simpler way to explain it to you is that a doctor was a doctor before they saw their first patient. A surgeon was a surgeon before they did their first operation. An engineer was an engineer before they did their first job as an engineer, because they went through the process of becoming a doctor, becoming an engineer, becoming a lawyer. You go through the process of becoming before you can do and have the things that come with what you've become. And so this person who is doing their 6 years, 7 years in school, doing everything that it takes to become a doctor, to become whatever it is that they want to become, they have the understanding that once I've become, then I will have the title. You get the title after you've become. You get the accolades after you have become. And so I put it to you, my friend, that faith that sees beyond the natural understands that you must first become what it is that you are asking for. And if you cannot become first, then you cannot have. But very often we make the mistake of just wishing and wishing and wishing, right? We know everything that we want, but we do not know what it is that it takes for us to become in order to have that. And so I'm saying to you right now, what is it that you need to become? What is it that God is calling you to become? How is God calling you to command your situation even before you see the change? Because see, in Abraham, God has Abram go out there and call himself the father of many. He calls himself the father of many. He sees himself as the father of many before he has even one child. All the biological facts were against him, but he calls himself the father of many. And I will tell you now that from the time that God called Abram to the time that he became a father, that process was necessary. And if you do not go through that process, even if you do receive favor, it does not last. It's the reason why many people get it and lose it, get it and lose it, take 2 steps forward and 5 steps backwards. It's the reason why. Because you do not want to go through the process of being sharpened, of being shaped, going through the becoming process. Once you become that kind of person, then you are able to see things for what they can be, what they will be, what God has said of them, instead of what you are seeing with your naked eye right now. Because right now, you are not seeing all the facts in your favor. You are not seeing all the facts in your favor, and it is bothering you. But if you remember, there is the prophet Elisha who is with his servant, and he finds himself surrounded by an army that came to seize him. And his servant wakes up in the morning to find that they are surrounded, and he says, "Oh, man of God, what are we to do?" And you know what the prayer was? Elisha's prayer was, "Lord, open his eyes that he may see." Open his eyes that he may see that those who are with us are more than those who are against us. It is a reality that exists, but its manifestation is determined by how you see, what it is that you choose to see. Problem with you is that you see things for what they are and you call them as they are. You choose to just call things as they are. And you think you're keeping it real because you call it like it is. My friend, let me just tell you this right now, that if you insist on a life where you call things as they are instead of what they can be, every time you call it like it is, you are declaring that it ought to remain as it is. I'm going to tell you this again. Every time that you call it as it is right now, you are declaring that it ought to remain as it is right now. Faith is able to see beyond the natural. That is our faith, my friend. It sees beyond the natural. The very idea that you believe in God is what affirms this. The very idea that you believe that God formed the world out of spoken word is the basis of this Christian walk. You know because you believe. You don't believe because you've seen. Everything that you see it because you believe it. Let me read something for you from Unlocking Favor with God and People on this very same subject. I want you to listen to this. In your personal journey, have you noticed how people gravitate toward those who are secure in what they carry, even if they don't have much? People are drawn to those who walk with vision. Faith gives you that kind of vision. It makes your posture strong, your tone confident, and your steps firm. Faith gives people a reason to believe in your calling, even if they don't understand it. See, my friend, I want you to understand that when I wrote Unlocking Favor with God and People, I wasn't writing something that I read out of a book. I didn't ask my neighbor about this. These are not principles that I heard about somewhere else. These are principles that have been proven in my own life. Listen, I have seen the favor of people in a way that is unbelievable. People who come up and say, I don't know exactly where this is going, but I believe in it. Can I tell you something? The only reason why they believe in it is because I believe it. That's why. I believe it. I believe it enough to stake my whole entire life on it. I believe it enough to give up everything else for the pursuit of this one thing. And so when people see the way that I'm pursuing my vision, it is easy for them to believe in it and to come alongside and say, we can do this. But the problem with many people is that they are stuck on the side of the road in a car that they are sitting in without the effort to push it. They are not trying to push. They do not care enough to try. And they're hoping that somebody will stop their own car and attend to them. It's not until they see you outside doing the best that you can. One arm inside the car trying to steer while the other is outside trying to push. May not be very strong, may not be very effective, but we see you trying and we see that you have a conviction about what you are doing to the point where you are willing to look silly trying to push this thing. That's when we come alongside you. So you must carry a kind of faith that sees beyond the natural. Beyond the natural abilities that you have right now, beyond the limited resources that you have right now, beyond the little that you have. Your faith must see beyond that. My friend, I want you to understand that if you commit yourself to faith, you are committing yourself to a life that often doesn't make sense, but it's only for a moment. It often doesn't add up, but it is only for a moment. I'll see you on the next episode of Aligned with Poloko.